I was excited to get the Nintendo 3DS, but it was more of a theoretical excitement. I learned about the 3DS, to be honest, when I started making these videos. For me, in my world where I grew up, the PSP was everything. This was the handheld to get. It was just won our imaginations here in South Africa, and so this is a device that I've wanted for a very, very long time. And so apart from my quest to get a Game Boy DMG, which is still, eventually I will get there, but this is second on the list. And so I'm really excited about this. I've already mentioned it on my channel, and we'll get into some of the issues with this particular PSP. But yeah, let's get into it. So I bought this from someone on Facebook, and I literally picked it up from the courier and set up the camera and started making this video. So you're experiencing what I'm experiencing, and I just thought, with it being a fairly, meaningful moment for me, I wanted to do an unboxing. Like I've mentioned in a few of my unboxings, it's not something that I do all the time, because I just think it's a bit boring for content. But for this specific moment in time, I think an unboxing is warranted. So let's get into it. Wow, this guy really put in a lot of effort to box this. Some paper, some more paper. There we go. All right, so I'm guessing that's a PSP. There's a charger. Yeah, it's still the Sony PSP charger, so that's nice, the fact that it is an OG charger. It's not and what's cool is, it came with a bunch of boxed games. So the value of this is that I got a good deal, but the games are boxed. So the more I get into this, the more I realize if your games are in a box, it raises the value quite considerably. So when I go to Cape Town, I'm probably mostly going to buy unboxed games just because it's a better deal, especially for the 3DS. I mean, Need for Speed Carbon, Own the City, really cool and popular game, so that's nice in the box. Fast and Furious, never even played this. This is cool. Oh, this is one. So with the PSP, they did movies. So they actually put movies that you could buy and put them on the PSP. So that's one of the movies. That's so retro. You can't get more retro than that, except for something that's more retro. Also, popular game, Need for Speed Shift in the box. Let's have a look. If you've been following me on this journey, I'm not trying to bullshit anyone in terms of my knowledge on the channel. This journey is to get me more informed for my channel, and I've never held a PSP game in my hand. This is so cool for me. I know this is such a nerdy video, but it just makes me so happy. Growing up, seeing people own these things, I couldn't afford them, and just to have it in my hand is really cool. Oh, that's weird. Everybody's Golf 2 again. Why did I get 2 copies of Everybody's Golf? That's very strange. Anybody want a copy of Everybody's Golf? I have a spare copy. Anyway, so I'm specifically excited about these. I know a lot of people outgrew racing games, but I still like them. Clearly the person that owned this was into racing. Okay, so I have one charger. So here we have the original PSP case, the leather case, the holder. So that's already really cool. And here it is, fairly scratched screen. Buttons feel pretty good. That feels really nice. You've got your shoulder buttons and the little slider joystick here, little nub over here. First impressions, it's a really nice hardware, man. Wow, this is really cool. I've also got the PSP logo here, headphone jack, power, charging ports, the infamous L1 and R1, original, 512 megabytes. 512 megabyte memory stick Pro Duo, so definitely going to upgrade that. Half a gig, can you imagine? All right, so now you can DM me to find out how much I paid for this. I got 2 devices out of this deal. So I couldn't pass this up because it's just such a good deal. So this one, let's see. So it's also PSP Street. Let's see. Pretty much the same wear and tear. Oh, very similar. So I'll just see which one works the best and then get rid of the other one. Screens are pretty badly scratched. Pity there weren't screen guards on here. Anyway, okay, this screen seems a little bit better. So let's switch this one on if it will power on. Okay. First time ever. Whoa. All right, so we've got that. And then where's the volume? What if there's like a, oh, there. Okay, so once the screen's on, it's bright enough to hide all those imperfections. Let's see here, starts. So the form factor is really nice. It's the perfect size. It really is a nice size. I think the immediate comparison is here. So we've got a bigger screen on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Really is nice, and it's got a little bit of like depth to it. So you know, you're getting a smaller screen. The buttons are obviously worn in, but they you know, I think there are dome switch buttons, but they're not as clicky as the dome switches that we get on our retro devices. Oh, I've forgotten how to play this game. There we go. Let's see. Okay, let me just turn it towards myself a bit. So immediately one of the nice things is just that I don't have to tweak anything to get started. Like everything obviously works, all the controls work as they should. The other immediate thing I notice is, you know, with all our little like bilinear filtering and all those things that we get to play with, I'm realizing that the resolution on this PSP is quite bad. Quite bad. If you consider, you know, the way that we can tweak our resolutions, we can do 3x resolution on some of our devices. We really get quite spoiled with these retro gaming devices. So the hardware, the controls. So obviously this is a slider, like it or lump it. It is a slider, the joystick on the left. It's nice to use, and the buttons are great. You know, you can't deny that these are really nice buttons. They're bigger than all our retro gaming devices. They're definitely bigger than the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus that I've got here as an example, just to compare it to. So let's quickly talk about this Street, the so-called Street. And the thing about this is many people commented and said, well, that is the worst PSP that ever came out. And in many regards, it probably is. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. And I keep forgetting the other issues, but I'll put them up on the screen. But the point was to make it cheaper. And there's a reason why here in South Africa, this is the most popular second-hand retro handheld on Facebook because people obviously bought them. For one, Wi-Fi wasn't, in 2011 when this was released, Wi-Fi wasn't a huge deal. Not a lot of homes had Wi-Fi. I remember I had Wi-Fi for my work, but I remember like our parents, family members, I hadn't adopted Wi-Fi yet. So in many like underdeveloped countries, this was ideal. We didn't need the Wi-Fi. We didn't need all those extra things. And so a simpler, cheaper device, you know, I keep going on about this. Someone said, you know, Nintendo makes affordable hardware to me. And afterwards I kind of thought about it and I realized like Nintendo hardware, even in this day and age, is not affordable. It is not affordable for people in my country. You know, I would never spend that kind of money on a gaming device for my kids. But it's just a whole different scene depending on which country you go to. And so the PSP Street made perfect sense to the person that it was being sold to. And so, yeah, let's have another look at the hardware. We've got a USB plug. I wonder if you can charge via the USB plug. I'll confirm that's in the edits. Whoa. Okay, that was a bad move. Do you want to quit the game? No. Whoops. Oh, shit. Yes. Okay, let's power off. It's so weird to have a spinning disc in the back of the thing. Oh. Vibes. Okay, let's see if I can switch it off. So you see here, this is what RetroArch is based on. Let's see if I can... I just want to switch this thing off, man. How do I switch it off? Power. I'm like an ape. I don't know how to handle these things. I'm not used to handling cartridges and stuff like, you know, VHS and stuff like we used to do in the olden days and DVDs. I'm sure people are watching this going, what is wrong with this guy? Okay, there. Okay. Now, in 2011, it made sense to watch DVDs on here, but let's see. So I'm gonna do a screen recording of me hacking this. So this is one of the easiest devices to hack, so I'm definitely gonna do that. There we go. That's how you handle it. And then you grab it like this, and you put it there, and then you close it. It's like the most inefficient way to handle games. So now I tried to play this movie and it says it's the wrong region. So that's another reason to hack these devices. It was just such an annoying thing in the olden days. And so it would be nice to get this working. And so just hack the device and then I'll be able to play that. I mean, why would I want to play this movie on here? I don't know. But anyway, there it is. And obviously, if I go look for games in Cape Town and those games don't play because of regional issues, because sometimes people would import these, they would go to America or something, and they would get a region-locked device, and then they would just make sure they buy games from that region. But now that, global community and all that stuff, if I buy something secondhand, it's quite frustrating to have to worry about whether games fit the device and all that. So getting it hacked is definitely makes sense. These cutscenes are pretty damn cool. The viewing angles are shocking. So I'm trying to look at it for myself, and the camera is picking it up okay. But for me, like I'm sitting off camera there, that's me viewing it. But if I move it there, let's just wait for it to come up again. Like this is where the viewing angle starts to there. It starts to go darker and all weird, and I can't see. Now it's all like completely weird. But I have to get it to there to get the full brightness of what it's trying to do. The joystick is quite sensitive. So, we're always so critical of these retro devices, but this joystick is pretty sensitive. So you just dab it like this to use it for a racing game. Obviously, gameplay itself is seamless. Like I'm not experiencing any glitches or whatever. This Need for Speed Carbon, I can't remember tested it on the Retro Pocket 3 Plus, but the previous generation, this game wouldn't play at all. And so it is nice just to play this specific game without any problems. However, I have gotten this game working on one of my devices and upscaled and all those things, and the image just looks much better. The resolution is quite bad. Okay, so if I got this device in 2011, I would have been like, what? These are the days of mini discs and CDs and, to take you back to the era of when this was happening. This was mind-blowing for that time. But then bring it into 2023. We've got, stuff like the Retro Pocket 3 Plus. We've obviously got the Switch and all those things. How does it fare? I think in terms of hardware and the buttons and all that kind of stuff, it still holds up really, really well. This D-pad, the joystick, the face buttons, they're all really nice. This is very jerky. So, we're always critical of like the finer details of how good this joystick is, which is good. I mean, we need to be critical. Things need to get better. But I think for 2011, this was fantastic. But even in today's standards, this is really nice to play games on. And so I'm going to hack this and take it with me on holiday. This is going to be my holiday device. This and the Nintendo 3DS. And I'm going to go on a game hunting expedition on my holidays. But then is a device like the Retro Pocket 3 Plus better? Yes. And I think a lot of it has to do with the screen. These buttons are really small. Like once why is no one doing buttons like this anymore? These are comically tiny when you compare it. But in every other respect, this device is far superior. I can upscale most of my PSP games on here. The screen is better. I love the D-pad on the Retro Pocket 3 Plus. I've got mappable shoulder buttons so that I can do saves and all that kind of thing. So the future is bright. The emulation devices are definitely better than the original hardware. And that kind of settles it for me because I get a lot of people on my channel commenting saying, why don't you just play it on the original hardware? And now I can qualitatively say that this is better. Like, stop commenting that this is better because it just isn't. Stop being a dumbass. Because there's a nostalgia attached to this. I don't have that nostalgia. The only nostalgia I have is that I wanted it. Now I have it, and I realize that this stuff is better. That being said, I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to go hunt for games and all that kind of fun stuff as a collector, because a lot of these things have value these days. I might replace the screens and sell these for much more. I'll see what I do. But in the end, these are great, but the new stuff is better, man.